All right, we're here.
Are we?
I think so. About to find out. About to find out if I know how to properly label stuff.
Yeah, and the
it
Chamber of
worked.
Secrets.
It worked. All right, let me just copy that link into the Discord.
I feel like Gandalf, the end of the second movie, is fucking bright white as fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you just thumbs up me, you motherfucker?
No, I don't know why I did that.
All right, let me just load up everybody's tracks here.
Let's see if you do one of those.
Damn, Spin is literally...
He's styling on us.
Flexing fireworks. He's flexing fireworks.
I think it's when you picked up your coffee cup, it looked like you had a thumbs up. I don't know what balloons and peace have to do with each other.
Me neither.
I'm just grabbing the chat so I can see what all these cool kids are saying. Good morning. Yeah, dude. Good morning.
You see that? You see that real? 2 rocker hands makes lasers.
Yo, that's sick.
That was an iPhone thing. iPhone will do that. It's like the same exact animation.
Crazy. I almost want to get out the actual lasers now. Just turn them on behind me. So are you drinking actual coffee right now? Is that what that is?
No, it's apple cider.
Damn, that sounded
all
hype.
All festive and shit.
Yeah. Anyway, what's good? Is everyone hip? Is everyone here? I've just seen Scrubtronics typing. Bless his soul. What a name. Every time I read Scrubtronics, I get a little chuckle in my soul.
That is a great name. And the name is not indicative of the kind of music he makes whatsoever.
It's not. It's really not. But I guess we should start. We ready, boys? We ready, laddies? I'm trying to find these questions. Are they in the Discord? I just want to make sure that I know what I'm supposed to be focusing on. You know what I'm saying?
He asked something about his dad coming back with cigarettes and milk. So no, I don't think there's questions.
There's not questions. He said, I want the full roast. The full roast. All right. Well, the full roast will be we just don't.
He's gonna get about 66% of a roast because that's about a minute and a half longer than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But okay.
Don't worry, I'll hit him with the fade out, you know. All right, gang. Let me know if you can hear it.
Dude, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
I think Sofa King's style has only been improving. That was good. I like the arrangement a lot. I mean, he didn't ask us any questions, so maybe we can all just let him know like one thing that we thought could be flexed on better. I know that the big thing that I was missing was some dedicated sub energy. I don't know if you all felt that, but what is that? What does that mean?
That was the shape of his spectrum.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, like there's just not a lot of like fundamental like deep energy there. So I think a dedicated sub could like really help carry that. But the arrangement was really nice. I mean, I like the vibe of it. But yeah, what did you guys think?
I'll go. That was easily my favorite thing you've ever made, and like low-key super inspiring. Sound design was fucking insane. The way the like harmony was present, but it was also like kind of buried. So sick. I'm gonna listen to this later. This is really fucking good. Literally the only thing that came to mind was at the end of the phrase, it's like it's repeating the phrase a lot, which is fine because it's a really good phrase and the sound design's really cool. So I didn't like get bored of it by any means, but for the fills in the end, instead of cutting to silence, you could like keep the phrase going and maybe pitch it down rather than like silence and then restarting the phrase. Just little fills like that and shit. And I would use the sound that you already have and just kind of like mangle it to make the fill because the sound is really fucking cool. That was just like a personal thing that I would have done that came to mind. I really like this. Like Magdo said, just like fuck with the sub a little bit, get it sitting a little bit like more present and cleaner, and maybe play with like what it's doing, like maybe sustaining sometimes and wubbing with the bass other times. But yeah, this is for real. This was phenomenal.
Your father didn't go for cigarettes and milk. He went for a sub bass.
He'll be back with it though one day.
One day, someday. Good shit, Mr. Doesn't Matter. Don't ruin it with a no motion vocal. That's all I gotta say about that.
For real.
And some of you guys in the chat here, and even my fellow presenters, have never been in a 3 a.m. cook session with Sofa King Sad Boy, and it shows. But anyway, Rose cracked. Good shit. More of this stuff, but with like some more full frequency, full spectrum sound. Maybe even just a little bit of a dedicated sub, and this song's probably there. And whatever Real and Magdo said. But also, next time, questions, please.
For real. Yeah, no, I think what sucks is like there was some serious opportunity for some good question asking because like this is the best, in my opinion, this is the best arrangement and mix down yet. And yeah, I'm only gonna specify the dedicated sub because I don't know what you're focusing on or want to focus on in this track. But yeah, definitely, I agree with what Dino was just saying. Like more of this for sure. I think that this sounded really nice. So. Yeah. Thank you, Sofa King, for your flexing. Also, cool visuals.
Straight into some rhythm.
Oh yeah, super rhythm man. Oh, Poyo's back.
I didn't even know that was the name of the track.
Yeah, dude. Watch it not be rhythm. Watch it be like country, or air quote, country. But yeah. Damn, that went hard. I'll be honest. I want to answer the second question, just because I feel like that's like my ballpark. You know what I'm saying? That's where I live, is sound design. So,
Go ahead. You guys handle this. I'm gonna recuse myself from this submission.
all right, then yeah, really, you kick it off. I don't know what to say about this first one. It's a good question.
Okay. Sorry, I was pulling open the questions, but I see you have them now.
Yeah, they're up here. They're on the.
What are some elements you want to hear incorporated into the build-up or drop? I don't know. I feel like with like rhythm and tear out, and honestly even a lot of dubstep, you don't really have to worry that hard about taking stuff from the drop and bringing it into the build-up. Like maybe one of the flows, but I mean, like, look at like a Subtronic song. Like you won't hear a single sound in the build-up that you hear in the drop. It's more just about like matching the energy of the build-up with the drop. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not going to be able to answer that super well, to be honest. But yeah, like if I had to answer, I'd say just like maybe one of the flows, just like kind of like bring a, you know, it doesn't even have to be on the same patch. Just kind of introduce that so people know it's about to smack them in the face.
Yeah. Oh wait, were you gonna? Okay, my bad. My bad. Keep flexing.
Yeah, I'll take 3 too because Dino dropped out. Is putting a transient shaper on it? No, I don't think that's literally a bad thing. I've actually been using transient shapers a ton, especially if you're like driving it into a clipper after you shape the transient. Yeah, I put it on a lot of stuff too. I wouldn't say on literally everything. Like you wouldn't put it on a. I'm sure you didn't put it on your sub or probably your snare either. But yeah, I just go crazy with transient shapers into clippers. It sounds really good, and you can get shit really loud that way. But yeah, that's all. Track was fire.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing that I noticed immediately, and I'm glad that I listened to it before I even read these, because I was thinking this before you even asked it. And like in my opinion, timbrally it is boring, right? Like it's all the same kind of sound. And I guess like your question is, can it be done correctly? I mean, I think correctly is a very it's just not the right word maybe that I would have like. The short answer is yes, absolutely. Like I think that a lot of people seem to really like that sort of style, so maybe you're barking up the wrong tree with this feedback. But what I will say is that my idea of correct does not involve a timbre that sounds the same, especially when it's kind of easy to change the timbre. Like it's not the hardest thing to do.
Also, when there's no tonal variation.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people that do this, right? Like a lot of people who make rhythm do use the same timbre the whole way through the drop. So I think the question is like, what do you think is the correct way to do it? Because like my opinion of the correct way may be different from your opinion of the correct way, but I think that it is like a minimal amount of energy to change the timbre of the sound and still get good results. And I would at the very least experiment with that and then see if that sounds good. And if it doesn't, then you can go back to whatever you have here. But I do think that it's worth like trying to adjust the timbre a little bit. And if you ever are curious on like my whole thought processes of that, just look up Magduit fractal technique. And yeah, that just goes over the whole concept of how you can change a sound into another sound, but it still feel like that sound is connected to the previous sound that you already have. So yeah. But no, I think it's a cool song. I think the mix down's nice. I think the kicks are slapping the way that they need to slap. So, yeah, no, I think transient shapers are great. By the way, I just want to agree with Real. Yeah, transient shapers are, I would say, the future a little bit of the future. Maybe they're the present, but like not a lot of people are hip to the present. So, anyway, did you want to add anything, Dino?
Yeah, I do have a comment. I really like the stereo play on the top end. There was a lot of stereo information. It was really nice and wide. And then as far as like doing the same patch over and over again, it can be okay. I want to see more than just camping the one note. Doesn't matter how sick your flow is. If it's like even just a cheeky little pitch bend in there could be really cool. Especially if you have like those really like choppy, like you know, like you know what I'm saying? Like you could definitely spice it up with that. But anyway, yeah, that's my input.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yo, but good shit, Poyo. Keep making tunes, dude. Your mixdowns are clean. On God, they are really nice. I think I don't know if I can speak for everyone when I say that, but I'm sure we all agree. All right.
Hold on. Before we start this, do we have last week's iteration of this available? Because I know this waveform looks very different. Or is this a completely different track?
This might be a different song. I'm doing the searching. Is this the last week's one?
Different track.
Different song.
Okay.
I found it though.
I was gonna say, bro went hard with the feedback, changing the waveform that much.
Let me make sure I've got his questions up here. All right. Let us embark upon this journey of Dream Materials Part 1.
Nice.
Yeah, that was very peaceful. Who would like to go first?
I'll run it. Why not? I tried to focus on percussion this time. I'm wondering about their volume levels and if it's too busy. Is the percussion competing with the melody? The volume levels are fine. It's not too busy because of the way you have it panning. I don't think it's competing with the melody. I think it's accenting it really nice. Is bass too present for a song like this? No, actually, it's really nice, and we like nice, deep, clean basses in this kind of genre, but generally before you get to that first drop, don't have the bass turned up as loud as the drop because it removes from the energy. Generally speaking, do you have any methods for creating that second drop that can either fit the vibe or even one up the first drop? I mean, that's like usually for this kind of music, like tropical house, the second drop's identical to the first drop. So yeah, it's just a mixing point. I see a lot of red on the volume meters, but it seems fine. Let me know if there's something that's too. I see it. It's fine. I'd say there was a lot of dynamics in this. All right. We love you too.
I guess I'll go next. I think that I really liked the way that you used percussion in this. Personally, I thought that you did a lot of like little fill elements that I did not hear in the last track that you had submitted, and I thought that was really nice. I think that was like a good improvement, because like in my opinion, a lot of the things that help songs progress is those kind of transitionary percussion elements where, you know, you have like, I know at one point I heard like a little like that, a little pop, you know, like that kind of stuff helps the track progress in a more natural way, where like the listener is like being told like, hey, there's a break here and we're going on to the next section. Even though it's like subconscious, like obviously you're not literally saying that, but you're giving that sort of a feeling. I think that my same opinion, I have the same exact opinion of the bass, by the way, as your last track. So the last track and this track are very similar in the low end, and the biggest similarity is you have a very legato, kind of like a constant sort of sine wave bass. And I would say you should try experimenting with some rhythmic element to that, you know, add some, less legato, more staccato, you know, more like almost trancey basses where you're like do 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 do, kind of like, you know, like very short staccato-y bass notes. I think could really sound cool in this sort of a song. Um,
I was thinking something similar. Instead of having a ramped up bass, maybe for like the second drop, having like a sidechain ramp up bass, you could have like an in between bass kind of thing. But anyway, sorry.
right? No,
Didn't
yeah,
mean to interrupt.
no, you're chilling. That's basically what I'm saying. And yeah, I think that I would say I think that the thing about the second drop is in this style of music, you could totally get away with doing something as simple as adding some elements and keeping everything the same just because it's so progressive. Like you could add like some vocal like choirs, you could add maybe some strings or super saws or pads, something that's very like just mid-range legato, very like stable in terms of like the notes themselves. And then I think that would just add a lot of energy, but still make the drop sound, I guess, different enough than what you have here already. And I think that that's probably the best thing I can suggest. I mean, I think you can experiment maybe with trying like a different chord progression as well, but I think that's like too much of a change for the style of music. Although I would say you can definitely try that route. But I think adding more instruments in this type of a song would go the distance and like take you to that like second drop territory. I did not really notice anything that's too loud. I think that the kick is a little quiet compared to the sub. The sub sounds like a little bit louder than the kick. So I would say either bring up the kick or bring down the sub. I think everything could actually come up in volume, but that's just my, you know, loudness wars brain at work. I don't think it's like necessary for the calmness because it is still like a nice track that's very calm, but I think you could push like all the mid-range elements a little bit more and the kick and the other drums. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Love you too. And I look forward to hearing your part 2. Yeah, Rio, what do you think? What do you think, bro?
This is nice. I've been listening to music like this. It's kind of like chill, minimal house music. I like the bass. You could maybe even cut the sidechain deeper, like play around with that. You can get away. This is almost like synth wavy in the way that you can get away with like a super deep sidechain sometimes. So maybe play with that. It might work, and it gives the sub like a more rhythmic feel. I don't know. I thought the second drop contrasted the nice drop well. The harmony throughout the song was really nice, and I can't remember if you brought new chords in or like new voices in for the chords at the towards the end of the first drop or in the second drop. But whenever you did that, it sounded really good. I think that was the second drop, and that's honestly enough for me. Like if you just kind of swap the harmony up in the second drop and like maybe throw another instrument in there, it's a second drop with this kind of music. A lot of red on the volume meters. Now that's fine. If your master's red, and if you're in Ableton, supposedly that's even fine. Maybe put a clipper on the master, but you can redline individual tracks. Sometimes you can get really cool sounds from like redlining multiple tracks and then having them all like smashed together in a group or a master. But yeah, just trust your ears. Don't look. What you should be worried about with red is not if it's too loud, but if it's like distorting the sound in a way that you don't like. Then I would maybe like put a limiter on that track or turn it down if you want to. But I don't know. This is really nice. I like this a lot. That's pretty much all I got.
All right. Little aside here, Mag, did you see the messages that you received in the chat we're in?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I appreciate
Excellent.
you letting me know. Okay. Next up on oh wow, we're back again. He's back.
Mm-hmm.
The
Also, if you guys notice the questions, this track is specifically for me. You made it.
oh, he made it for you?
Yeah.
Well, what a guy. Thank you, Al. You're
I
so
appreciate
kind.
that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You mind if I let my friends talk about it though?
I don't know. I don't think I can. I don't think I can now. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay. Wow. Dang, I wish I could say something about it. But
He said
Dino's
it-
the
he
only
said it
one.
was-
No, I'm just
He
kidding.
said it was fine if you guys
I'm-
comment on it.
I'm trolling. I'm just Yeah, you go first, Dino. You are the expert after
Okay,
all.
so I feel like the kick and the triplet sub bass or the triplet acid bass were two different notes. Um, that the kick was hitting a little bit higher than the bass, and I feel like I could have used a little sharper, like more syncopation in like the return of the sub bass from between the kick and the bass. So like you could have like kick, first 16th note, less bass, second 16th note, full bass, third 16th note in between the two. And that can give more of a roll. And if they are at a different note, then try and make it so that that first 16th note is either. I feel like the kick was higher. And it was a kick, 16th, 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 kick, 16th, 16th, 16th. I could be wrong, though. It could just be deaf and old. So that's one thing that stood out. Should I release it or will it confuse the listener? Don't go in this EP, especially with how busy this track is. This track is very, very busy. There's a lot going on. Something I did notice in the first, after the first third of the track, you have this vocal come in. It's like really in the back. I feel like you could do with like way more stereo width on that. Does the track vary enough to stay engaging? It's too varied in some places. Another note that I wrote is your fills are like really, really disgusting. Like they're fucking super hard, and then you just go like right back into it. And that felt almost a little confusing because the timing in the fills is different. It's not a 4/4 timing on a lot of the fills. And that kind of threw me out. My monitors are out of service for the moment. Anything sounds super wonky in the mix. Yeah, some of your zaps and your growls and your yowls could have gone for a little more high pass. You really want the only low element to be that running rolling sub bass. But this is not quite what I was expecting a forest track to sound like from the Great Owl. But it's definitely some good forest. Some night sigh. I'd probably say this is more night sigh than forest sigh. But those two things are kind of like the same thing at the end of the day. But anyway, sick track, bro. Fucking love it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know how helpful I am on some of these questions, but I know that the second one was something that I really liked. I don't know. I think the only thing, I think the root note camping is totally fine. But what I think could be improved is, and I know that you like the fills, which I like timbrally, the fills are great, but I think that the fills should be, how do I describe this? Because I listen to a lot of psytrance as well, and I feel like the big thing that I'm noticing between like this track, that's different between this track and like a lot of the psytrance I've listened to, is the fills need to be like almost like a break from the song. Like they should feel very forward in the mix, almost more forward in the mix than any of the other elements that you've heard so far, especially in the high frequencies and mid frequencies. And you really should try and remove as much of the low end as you possibly can, so that when you do come back with the rolling bass again, it sounds like, you know, like you basically just took a quick break from like the song. Like that's the way that I have noticed like a lot of like people like Asterix or some of the other big names out there will like, they'll make their fills extremely forward. Like this is a fill and it is obvious and you are going to experience it. And usually it's very dynamic. Like each fill is usually different. I did notice in this track, some of the fills were different, but most of them were the same, like dun, 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 and then back into the, I would say experiment with like playing around with like more stuff. Like the ones that you have are great timbrally, they sound great. I just think you could go like one deeper with like the timbre / arrangement of those fills. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I still think this song is fire. You definitely are entering that psytrance energy. Like it's there. Like it is there. The energy is there. So good stuff, Al. What do you think, Real? Let us know.
Yeah, I'm not big on psytrance. I probably have never decided to, like, consciously decided to listen to a psytrance track, so I don't really know what they should sound like at all. I guess I have homework to do. I don't know if it would necessarily confuse the listeners. Like, it's not like worst case scenario, somebody skips the song. They're probably not going to unfollow you because you dropped a psytrance song. And I mean, best case scenario, like some people will like it. A lot of root notes. Yeah, this kind of made me realize psytrance and rhythm are very similar in that sense, where it's like root note and the same flow throughout the whole song. And it got me thinking, like, why does Dino even hate rhythm at that point and love psytrance? It doesn't make any sense. Because they really are like the
I don't
same
want to.
thing.
I don't want to. I don't want to alienate. I don't want to alienate our community by making that distinction. But you and I can speak privately about that later.
I'll see you
one
after
thing
class.
I did hear a psytrance song live, and I did like they did this thing where they kind of the sub kept rolling, but they high passed the mid bass layer and reverbed it as it faded out into it was like at the end of a 16 bar section, and then it went back, like it probably restarted, but that sounded really good. Like the high pass out, sub still going, kind of reverb it a little bit and then bring it back. That kind of keeps engagement. I would say it was as engaging as I would expect any psytrance track to be. And nothing sounded super wonky with the mix. I was looking at mini meters and it looked just super flat from the sub pretty much all the way up to the highs. I don't know.
Psytrance, buddy. Psytrance.
That's how it's supposed to be. Okay. I wasn't sure, especially with like the low mids. I was seeing how loud the low mids were. I was like, "Well, that's a red flag." But it didn't sound like muddy or, like resonant in the low end. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was a good track. I'm just not super into psytrance. Yeah, sorry, I'm not of more help.
Yeah, honestly, reference. I don't know if you reference for this, but you know what you need to do. You know, I know. I think everyone knows that referencing is like cheating. Honestly, it's like a cheat code. Especially for like the fills and things like that. But nah, clean stuff. Banging.
I think the real reason Real doesn't like psytrance is because he doesn't want to have to phase match his kicks to his basses. That's what it's the real dilemma. Anyway.
I mean, yeah. Who does, honestly, though?
Yeah, it's such a huge pain in the ass.
I'm honestly thinking I might cop the Melba Phasal line, and I'll do some science for us all to see if it's actually worth it. Because wouldn't it be great to just have a piece of software that you just throw on some tracks and just be like, align, and then like it aligns everything? You know, it's like you're a wizard.
Well,
you know?
okay, so Al is saying it's not hard when it's the same bass the whole time. Yes, if the kick and the immediate preceding bass are the same every time, that's the only thing you have to phase align. Like, and that's only if you want to have the bass line be on all 4/16ths, be like if you want to have the bass hit with the kick at the same time. If you're skipping the first 16th note and you're only having the 3 following 16th notes, you don't have to phase align it.
Yeah, like kick to do, kick to do, kick to do, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the current meta of psytrance, like that's not how it's going right now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yo, thank you, Al. That was sick. I'm excited to hear some more of that, actually. That was like so left field from what you normally make. That was like out there. I guess like literally and figuratively, you know, like, whoa, bro. I'm tripping out. All right. Let's hear OG. Can I not hear because I have it muted? Ah, that's why. That's why I can't hear.
Go ahead, Real. Tell us how this track and the previous one are the same thing. Go ahead.
So yeah, basically psytrance. Basically psytrance. No, wait, sorry, I lost the questions. Okay, I saw something about like layering too. Okay, first off, this is 11 months old. If you've been working on this track for 11 months, put it down. No song is worth that amount of time ever. If you put it away for a while and are picking it back up, that's cool. But yeah, they're you got to hit a certain point where it's like, okay, I've spent too much time in this, and you start overthinking everything.
Diminishing returns,
Um,
yeah.
It's a little off the wrong ones.
They're in the bottom of our
layering
chat.
two different bases. Okay, Subtronics does this a ton, and you did it pretty well. One thing I might suggest is there's one that's sitting a little bit farther back, like just barely, and it's literally doing the same thing over and over again. That's fine. Maybe make it like but both those bases are capable of occupying like the same range, and they kind of both do the same job. Maybe make one a little different, like put a tonal delay on it, or it's like I've been doing grain delay a lot to like if you're in Ableton, you can is there a tutorial that'll show you this? Essentially you turn down the time on grain delay all the way, so it's not actually delaying, it's just kind of and then you turn the feedback up. So you turn grain delay into a tonal delay, and then you can kind of pitch it around, and you can use if you're in like I can't remember, you just look up the hertz for like whatever note you're hitting is, and then you can sync grain delay to the hertz of the note, and you can get some really cool effects that are very like Subtronics-y sounding. And I think the way he's able to like layer things so thickly is because a lot of them are tonal and they're occupying different spaces and they're kind of doing a different job. And then you can vary it, so it's like rather than having the same patch play the same note, it can be hitting the same note, but the overtones are going to be a little bit different, and it's more like harmonically pleasant. That being said, these did layer pretty nicely. I think you could just like contrast them a little bit more so that it's like very clear that all the space is being taken up and used effectively. Should I turn one down? Like I said, one's already kind of sitting a little bit farther back, so it's fine. It's your but is it too repetitive? I don't know. In a live setting, it's probably fine. Listening on SoundCloud, it's a little by the second drop, it's definitely a little bit repetitive. You need like a new sound in the second drop. Just bring in a different bass or like change one of the basses you have timbrally, so it's kind of contrasting the first drop a little bit, and then maybe switch the flow up if you're feeling fancy. Sub bass. It's a good way to get a good mix on the sub. That's actually super easy. Get Span, the free spectral analyzer, and you want your sub sitting at about, there's an Ahi video on this. I would look up the Ahi video on Span because it applies. You can pretty much follow everything he says for your style. But essentially, with music like this, you want the sub at the same volume as the peaks of your highs, regardless of what everything in the middle is. And you want your sub at like -30. So if you can get the high end of your bass peaking at like -30, sub peaking at -30, you'll be fine. That's considered good level. and it'll translate well. But yeah, that's all I got. Track was good. If you've been working on it for 11 months, put it down. If you're picking it back up, start changing some things around. See what you can change without affecting it in a way that you don't really like. But yeah.
Do you want to go next, Dino, or should I?
It doesn't matter to me. I think we're probably going to end up saying the same thing anyway.
I mean, like, I guess I'll start. I'll start. I think the big thing that makes me just struggle with this style of music in general, and this is just me being like the old man on the porch who's saying, "Get off my lawn." The lack of timbral change for such a long period of time, like. So I'm going to refer to Poyo's track here because Poyo did a similar thing, but I would say he even went about it in a little bit more dynamic way to where I didn't really notice it as aggressively as I did in this track, where I'm literally hearing, and I'll like play it just so you can hear it. So it's the same sound, same arrangement, same notes, same like groove, everything. And it's like, I personally was bored after like the fourth one of those. So like after like hearing the fourth I'm like already like, I don't get it personally right now. I'm like,
Getting ready for the DJ to chop in the next rhythm track.
I guess so, right? Like, I guess that's the reason why I don't fully understand it. But that kind of goes to where I think what Real said makes a lot more sense in the grand scheme of things. Like for a live setting, if you're chopping between this track and another track, it's probably fine. But from the SoundCloud listen back perspective, I just don't personally understand it. But the one thing that I can try and help you with is, because you asked it, like, is it too repetitive? Like this is the question that I'm trying to answer. For me, yes, but if you wanted to fix it, it's not the hardest thing to fix. Like, I would say the biggest thing you could try doing is just adding a different flow every once in a while. So instead of it just going like do 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 do, you could do like do 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 do, and then maybe do 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 do. You know, like something different, right? Like some kind of different flow. Like every, what would that be? Like 4 bars or something like that, 8 bars. Just so that way, like the general listener isn't just totally bored. Cause like to most people, like I would think, I don't know, like, cause I think the biggest like, I don't know what to call it, like inspiration to me when it comes to like someone who listens to EDM that doesn't normally listen to music that's this style, was my grandma. And I used to show my grandma like a ton of bass music, and she had like never heard bass music before I started showing her bass music. But she would love tracks that had dynamic bass that were like progressive and interesting, and I would say like timbrally complex. So like really great references are people like Cohen Sound or like, you know, that sort of style of stuff, right? Which isn't this. But what I'm trying to tell you is like the average listener, I don't think is going to get this. And the thing that I think you should be trying to do as someone who makes rhythm is to get them to enjoy it, right? Like, and the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to go like that extra mile and make sure like people are addicted to it, no matter who they are, right? Like whether it's a kid, an adult, some like person who lives in the middle of nowhere, like they all are going to love it because it's not something that is repetitive or boring, but it's something that's like super complex and interesting. And I think that like all you have to do is change the flow like a little bit. Like it's not that much work. Like it's really not that much work. But once again, I'm on a soapbox, you know, I'm just the old grandpa who's sitting up on the porch saying, get off my lawn. So you don't have to listen to me. I'm just telling you my thoughts. So yeah, I still think that the mixdown, I feel like the mixdown was okay. I think you could push loudness a little bit more. I would reference people like Joe B or some of the other Rhythm Gang Lords that are out there, because I think this track is still a little bit quiet, mainly in the mid range. The drums are sounding fine, and I think the sub is fine, but the mid range bass I think is like a little quiet. But in general, see, like you thought about it, like you thought about doing a different flow there, but you're like, nah, let's just keep doing the same flow. That to me is like you were almost there, is what I'm trying to tell you. You have the abilities. So yeah. Sorry for being so harsh. I do think you have a really cool song here. I agree with Real. If you've been working on this for 11 months, just put it down. Pick up another track. If you're picking it back up after a while, I don't know, maybe this inspires you to get some more flow complexity going here. Because yeah, that's how you can make things more interesting. Sorry for my rant, but I struggle with rhythm, all right? I'm similar to Dino, but maybe I just don't always voice it as like openly. Dino's just more honest than I in that regard.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn, bro. Yeah.
This is one of the first times I've tried layering two different basses to play at the same time. Should I turn one down? Yes. Turn one down and have the other one at full, and then turn that one down and then have the other one at full, and have alternating basses so that you can have some variation in your song. Because rhythm producers seem to have an aversion to variation. That's one way to get a little bit of variation. Something I noticed that when Nagdo played back Poyo's track is he had one bass going, doing one thing, and then the other bass was doing something else, you know? And they were hitting at the same time, kind of, and also not at the same time. So that's something you could think about. Should you turn one down? I think Real hit that one pretty good. It's your basic rhythm style track, but is it too repetitive? Yes, I would say so, especially because you have that the kick snare. I mean, it'd be impossible to fuck that up. But like, I feel like the whole point of rhythm is, can you headbang to it? I feel like this track, the bass was just moving a little bit too fast to headbang, right? If you maybe slow down that main bass and then use that fast pace as like a fill, which again would add a little bit of variation in your track, that could be pretty good. I can never seem to get the sub bass at the right volume. It's either too low or too high. What's a good way to get a good mix on the sub? Real mentioned that your bass should always be sustaining at the level of the peaks of your highs. That's a pretty good, solid advice. I don't know what minus 30 means because I don't use span. But generally, if you get a limiter, any limiter, DAW agnostic, and you set it to minus 3 dB, okay, and you have your sub going to minus 3 dB, and then, so from what I learned is kick, sub, snare, minus 3, everything else, minus 4.5 to minus 6 dB, right? And just limit at that, and then you can push them all back in with like a clipper or something later on in the chain. That's a good way to do it. If you always consistently have your bass going into a limiter or a clipper, and you set it to either... So the idea with the minus 3 thing is later on, you push it back up with either another limiter or a clipper or some form of like volume boosting in the mastering chain process deal. As long as you consistently use the same level of bass in everything you do, and you figure out what that level is, especially on your listening environment. Like, I have a few different pairs of headphones. I have a sub, I have monitors, like, and I just know intuitively that, like, okay, on these headphones, bass does not come out so good. So if I can hear the bass on these headphones, it's too loud. If I'm hearing a lot of bass, if I'm not hearing any bass on my monitors, because I have KRK Rockets and those are like sub cannons, right? If I'm hearing too much bass on those, then I have too much bass. If I'm not hearing any bass, I don't have enough bass. So it's just getting to know your gear is a big part of it too. With that being said, As far as like the basses playing at the same time, I honestly couldn't tell that it was two different basses. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in your book, but yeah. So that's that.
Yeah, I'm actually in the same boat. I personally couldn't tell that there were two, so it's probably good, right? Like I think that's probably a good thing.
But I think Magda kind of hit it on the head. The bass was not too loud. The drums were all in a good place. I feel like the mid range was lacking a little bit. I would if I were you, if I were in your position, if this was my track that I was listening back to, I would think to myself, okay, how can I add more variation? How can I add more like just arrangement kind of stuff? And I don't mean like macro arrangement, I mean like bar by bar arrangement. How can I change the flow up, that kind of stuff? I would be concerning myself with that more right now than the mix of the bass. But yeah. Anyway, do we have a next track? I'm sure we do.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, thank you, OG, for your submission. It's still fire. All right. He nailed the rhythm. He hit the nail.
It was definitely rhythm.
All right. Who are you?
On. No questions with this one.
No questions. Uh-oh. All right.
Stop there. Who are you? 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 Stop there. Who are you? 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 Stop there. Who are you? 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 Stop there. Who are you? 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 Stop there. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Stop there. Who are you? I don't think I know you. Who are you? Who are you? Stop there. Who are you? Stop there. Who are you? I don't think I know you. Stop there. Who are you? I don't think I know you.
It's a shame he didn't ask any questions.
Yeah, really. I'll start. Why not? I feel like this track had a lot of cool sounds, but not all those cool sounds fit together. I feel like it was, and my exact note was, is this just a all the cool sounds thrown at the wall type beat? where the sum is less than the individual parts. Because that's what it felt like at times. It's like, oh, this is cool. Oh, that's cool. Together they're not that cool though. Like it felt a little cluttered at times, and like the vision is there. I can definitely see like the goal here. That being said, I also felt like some of the sounds were not in key with the track overall. And that can kind of cause problems. Speaking of key, C, really? We're gonna choose C for our root note. A brave decision given speaker technology right now. The ARP midway through that just did it, a weird thing, came in, wasn't in key with the rest of the track, and then goes away out of nowhere. I feel like that ARP just could have not been. So yeah, I wish you had questions here, because this is like an almost sick track. Like it's like super wonky, you know. I wish there was a little more like variation in the arrangement, a little more of the old classic 1632. Could have gone a little harder here. That vocal sample, well, it's cool and it could have worked. Generally, if you're gonna do something like that, just for the intro, just have the whole vocal snippet and then do the chops later on. Is usually a good vibe to go with that, because right now it's just like kind of coming in out of nowhere, and I have no idea what this is referencing. But yeah, definitely like be a little. I can tell you took your time selecting the sounds that were gonna go in there. Whether they're samples or synthesized, I'm getting the feeling they're samples, because if they were synthesized, then you could have just hit the same note over and over again, and then they would all be in key. And so, yeah, if you could just take what you have now and just remove like 25 to 40% of the sounds, and just be a lot more like intentional with the placement of the sounds, because there's like a lot of like intentional stuff here, and there's a lot of like sequential stuff, but it just at some points it just feels like there's too much. So, and then to answer the one question that you did put, is your dad coming back with the cigarettes? Probably. I mean, this one has a sub bass, so sure, why not? Anyway, go ahead, Mr. Magnet. Let him have it.
I mean, Real, do you want to go next? I can. But Real, are you? You're.
He's munching on popcorn.
Okay. So, I mean, like if you asked questions, I could have helped you make this,
because it's almost there, right? It's almost there.
I feel like the biggest thing that I just don't get, and I think it sucks because you're kind of like, I don't know, you're like making the whole track revolve around this vocal that just, I mean, like, I personally don't think it's good. Like,
yeah, that part.
I don't think it's even like a little bit good. Like, I was thinking about it, I was like, well, there's like way too much low mid, and it's like way too fundamentally rich for the track to begin with from a mix perspective. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't even think that would fix the utilization of it. Like, even if it was mixed in better, it would still just be way too, like, I don't know if overuse is the right word, but I personally don't think it needs it. I think that if you did want to use the vocal, I like Dino's suggestion, kind of like use it like a couple of times, maybe like a pre-drop vocal, or like a few times with like into a delay, or like the chopped idea was really good too. But like, you're kind of making it the whole song, you know, you're like focusing the song around it, and I don't think I like it. But what I do think is cool is I'm feeling like he sound designed a lot of this, which is cool. I can sense that there's some organic original sounds to be had. I just think that I don't know if the word is it's too repetitive because it's not really, right? Like it's just that I don't know. I think that the vocal makes me just not like it. I think if the vocal wasn't there, this song would be way better, just like a billion times better, because then you would be able to like not be distracted in an annoying way. Because don't get me wrong, like I think vocals can go hard. I just think like there's a super fine line between getting them to be too repetitive or not like repetitive enough. Because like you can repeat stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think in the context of this song, you're trying to make something really deep and like almost Charles of the First-esque. Like I get some of that energy from this, but the vocal is way too overused to like enter that sort of headspace. So yeah, I mean, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, the vocal's like a solid 0. And I think that you should just focus more on the sound design and the arrangement and like really kind of use that to be more full. Cause I think you're kind of using the vocal as well as like this thing that kind of like fills this space. And it's not as intentional as it could be. I think you could fill that space with more sound design. And yeah, I think I agree with Dino as well. The C0 is a little bit bold. I mean, the reality is I've seen a lot of people hit C0. Like I've been seeing like a lot of trap and rap hit C0. The problem is you have 0 harmonics. Like look at that. No one's going to hear that.
I can barely hear that on my expensive headphones.
No one is ever going to hear that sound, which is rough, my guy.
Who are you?
Also, I don't like the reverb.
You want to hit C0, you got to pump the second harmonic really hard.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I can barely hear it on my headphones, and I could probably hear it on a sub. I'm not trying to say that you could, but like, most people aren't going to listen to that on like really good headphones or on a sub. I mean, I think the best test that everyone should try, because everyone has one, is just pull it up on your phone, right? Like see what is missing. And in my opinion, in a track like this, where the sub is such a important element, you are going to be missing a lot on the phone. Like the phone is going to sound super weak because you're missing out on a really, really important element of the mix. So yeah, like Real was saying, pump that second harmonic, or even just add more harmonics than that. Like you could just, I would say like any amount of harmonics that are helping support that C are going to be necessary in order to enjoy this song on like anything other than a really expensive system or really nice headphones. Now, if you're hellbent on keeping these vocals, if you are really, really, really just like, I can't let go of these vocals because I basically base the whole track around it.
Stop there.
You need to high pass them more. You need to get rid of the fundamental.
Who are you? Stop there.
There's this harmonic area at like 300 hertz, maybe a little bit below that, where the fundamental of the voice is sitting, and it is like moan whining kind of noise. You know, it's like not good. It's like annoyingly present in the mix, and I would say you should get rid of that, or at least lower it a lot, and then boost the highs as well, because the vocals just sound like really dull and uninspired. But hey, I'm being a savage today, okay? I'm letting you know exactly what I think because I want your song to get better, and you didn't ask questions, so that gives me the right to be hella savage. Yeah, dude. All I'm gonna say is ask more questions. Yeah. All right, Real.
Okay. I like this. It was like spooky, kind of like almost power liney in the like harmonic sense. So that was cool. Flow is nice. I think it could be like one thing I was hearing that could be nice is more push pull. At some sections it feels kind of like blocky. Like they were saying, Magdo and Dana were saying earlier, it feels like crowded, like a little too much sound design. I think it's just like I guess that's arrangement. like you're placing stuff like very close to one another in some sections where you might be able to like have a fucking reverb sweep or something replace a blocky section so that it kind of pulls into the next part better. Foley layers in the high end even could help. Like very subtle crashes. Like rhythmic foley stuff. You can like gate follies to hi-hats or anything like that, just to like fill space while also like pulling from one part to the next. Yeah, C0 is a no unless you pump the second harmonic. I've seen like Cohen Sound will use C0, but the second harmonic is literally at the same volume as the first harmonic, or as the fundamental. And then you want to have like, of course, all subsequent harmonics after that too. But you really need the second one there, and then like the third for phones. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, that's the only thing I was really hearing. Like more push-pull stuff. Maybe put delays on stuff. Just try to make it more fluid, especially in the second half. Because I really like the flow in the first half. You just like kind of lost me a little bit in the second half because it just got a little bit blocky. But that's a pretty easy fix. You have all the pieces are there. Just kind of wiggle them around and maybe make them fit a little better. This is a really good track though. Yeah, nothing stuck out to me like very, very negatively. I probably would have liked this if I ran into it on SoundCloud. But yeah, keep it up.
Hell yeah. Yeah, good shit, dude. I think it's so close to being a banger. That's why I think I'm so sad. All right. Next up is Speaking Cursive. I didn't know that was possible, but
Depends on how much you drink.
I guess you're right.
Brother could open up a spa with all that mud. All right. No questions, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. It was a little muddy. The bass was a little hot. It was a little distorted. I don't think that was intentional. And that's the extent of my commenting for that. Clean up the low end. Come back with some questions. I know you said you're at work and you're gonna submit the questions. So if you want, just DM them to me later, and I'll address them. But yeah.
What do you think, Will? What are your thoughts? Oh, assuming Dino's done. Sorry, didn't want to like.
Oh, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Because I'm not ready to go. I got to think about how I want to put this.
Well, I don't know. I remember when you first came in and you were showing up to Feedback Friday. You've definitely come a really, really long way since then. But you also, I can still tell it's you, which is a good thing. That's not like if I were to compare your older stuff to this, the same sound is still there. It's becoming more polished though. I don't know. The sound design was cool. There was one part in the first drop, pretty early into the drop, where I don't know what you did. It was fucking insane though. I was turned around. It caught my attention. One thing that kind of stuck out bad was the kick build up into drop 2. Just the drum build up into drop 2. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. I don't know if it's because of how busy the section before that was leading up to it, so I wasn't expecting it, or if the pattern is just a little bit like wonky. Or maybe like a combination of both, to be honest. Yeah, maybe just try to iron out the contrast between like a chiller section, a build up into a drop. And if you're gonna, I mean, like sometimes I'll switch if I have a drop that I like, and then I have another drop that I like, but they don't really just like go A to B. You can build little sections to bring them into one another. Most of the time I'll like remove the drums entirely and do like a pitch up or like a filter opening. And it'll sound really good if you like sub drop into the next part. But those are just like little things you could play with. There's all sorts of things you could do. Yeah, it was a little bit muddy. I really like low mids. It sounds like you probably do too. On monitors and headphones, if you don't know what you're listening for, it just sounds good when you have low mids that are very present, sometimes too loud. I still do it, even though I know it's bad. When you translate that to like bigger systems or even like car systems with big subs, it just drowns out the high end pretty much entirely. So just watch the low mids, watch the mud, be like high passing things in the mix. You can have stuff in your low mids. You just don't want like multiple layers occupying that space because it's a really, really loud frequency range on most systems. So when you have stuff in there, it comes out a lot more resonant and not as good sounding the louder you turn the song up. But it sucks because on monitors and headphones, it sounds pretty good most of the time. I think that's all I got. Oh, yeah, no, that's it. That's it. It just needs a little bit of cleaning up, but it's a good track, and you've been making a lot of progress. So yeah, keep it up.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree with Real. I definitely think this is an improvement from previous tracks. I think that the biggest thing that I've noticed is like a reoccurring theme across not just your track, but like other people who have submitted tracks this evening is I feel like everyone that's using reverb is being very unconscious with how their reverb is sounding from a frequency perspective. Like obviously the space is fine, like the space, like the timbre of it and how much of it is there and things like that. But I think that people don't care as much about how it's sitting in the mix. And the problem with that is, reverb is like having like any low mid or mid frequencies in a reverb is a really good way to start generating mud and making it really, really difficult to like deal with the mud. Because as soon as you have the reverb, you're basically amplifying mud that's already there. And then if the reverb is muddy, it's like extra mud. It's like you've added wetness to the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like it is mud. So what I would recommend is similar to Real. Like I don't think it needs all this reverb. And if you're going to add all this reverb, just make sure to high pass it more. Like you don't need to have that pluck like sitting in that mix the way that it's sitting. Like that is just unnecessary amounts of low mids and mid frequencies, in my opinion, especially in the reverb. I also think that a lot of the basses sound almost reverberant, like they sound like you added space to them, and I don't think that that is something I enjoy personally. Like, I think that your mid basses should sound very forward and dry. You can add a little bit of reverb, but most of the time if you do that, it needs to still feel dry, so it should be like, you know, like super short, like room reverb type stuff. Or if you do want it to be a reverb that actually feels wide and spacious, it needs to be like a throw and not like a constant thing. But yeah, I think the song sounds a little slammed, especially the low end. I think the low end doesn't feel very stable either. And once again, we're hitting like B0 and C0 and stuff like that. I don't know. Like, this kind of goes back to the previous track, but you got to make sure that you've got some harmonics with that, or no one's ever going to hear it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think the biggest thing you could focus on, though, is using reverb a little bit more intentionally. Same with a lot of other people that posted tracks tonight. Like, be conscious of the fact that you can't just like slap reverb on something and it sound good. Like, you got to be like aware that, you know, there's certain frequencies that you do want to have go into the reverb and certain ones that you don't. And then you even may want to go a step further and have certain frequencies coming out of the reverb that you want to make sure that you do want, and, you know, removing some that you might not want. So yeah, I think that reverb is great and it's cool. And I used to put it on everything all the time. And I still do put it on stuff a lot. But the thing that I've learned over the years is that a little goes a long way. And that's not just in the dry wet sense. That's in the frequency sense as well. So yeah, I do think that there's also some harshness in the like the upper mids. If you have soothe, I would soothe it. Or if you have an EQ or dynamic EQ, I would just like kind of sweep those areas on some of your melodic tracks and just kind of see where those are. Because there are times where I'm like, ow, like that just sounds like almost white noise, but like loud white noise. So I feel like on a bigger system especially, that would be kind of painful. Same with those, like you have these screeches, like you got to be careful when you're using sounds like that. You don't want too much going on in like the 8K or the 5K or even the 12K, you know, like you want to make sure that you're not like killing your ear holes and destroying your hearing, and more importantly the people that you're playing for, you don't want to destroy theirs either. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Keep making music though. I do think that your arrangement's on point. I really like the arrangement in general. Like the flow of everything seemed really natural. It's just that the mix down really could use some focus. So yeah, those are my thoughts. All right, I think we have one more, right? I think we have one more track.
Yes.
Let me scroll up here. Okay. All right.
Oh, bro, you just missed all the questions.
These are the questions.
No, yeah. Oh, I guess there's no questions here either. Wait, those appear to be the questions. Yeah. I was talking about Oliver though. He just showed up.
Oh.
Yeah. Look at this. Time-stamped questions, guys.
Yeah,
way more than 3 of them. But
that's actually
those are
making
notes
up.
to self.
It's making up.
Those are quite obviously notes to self.
those are not notes to self.
He only made it an hour ago. I think these are actually questions.
Intro too quiet, tension climb and drop impactful, post vocal wubs too dry. Let's see. What's going from anti-drop too minimal? These are little clicks. There are little clicks here that need to be fixed, question mark. These are not notes to self, real. As much as you want to hate on this person for being a good producer, all right? Let's keep it
Nah,
professional.
those are notes to self.
Let's keep it professional.
I guess we'll find out, right? Like, maybe this intro won't be too quiet, and then we'll know. No, I'm just kidding.
It looks like it might be too quiet.
It might be. It very well may be. But yeah, sorry, Oliver. They're not showing up, my guy. But yeah, it's all good. I think we gave you some pretty decent feedback. I just was responding. You should be able to gain some knowledge from the sauce that we have put down. So thank you for your submission. All right. Let's jump into this. Real and Dino. I wonder what Benji has for us tonight.
I don't know who Benji is. That looks like Frisian, though.
Oh, Benji knows. He knows.
May I please have this dance? This is where opportunity meets chance, where purpose meets a plan. This is a new life, a new way, a new possibility, a new day. May I please have this dance?
I mean, I think Real might be right a little bit. Some of these are sounding like some notes to self. But
You
that's
go ahead.
just my
Go ahead.
opinion.
Go ahead and start us off, Magda, because my mother always taught me if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all.
Okay, so here's my opinion. I think that I've heard this song a lot in the Discord. So Frisian has shared this with me previously, and I don't know if it's good or bad that it sounds the exact same every single time. It's probably fine, right? Like I haven't noticed any big changes, but the big thing that I have noticed this time around, and he kind of mentions it here in his notes to self. Sorry, they have to be at times. Like it feels like a note to self here. Yeah, the vocals, bro. Like if you're gonna use vocals, they've got to be like way in the front. Like I need to be able to feel like they are like, especially these kind of vocals. Like it's like, they've got to be in the front. And I feel like there are way too many times where it just feels like it's kind of like a background instrument to the main, like this synth. That synth, a little dun, dun, the really like full spectrum, very high-ish frequency, high mid frequency synth. Yeah, use some unmasking tools, use some dynamic side chaining with like compression or maybe a dynamic EQ and side chain with that. Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing that sticks out to me in a bad way with this song because like it's a vibe.
May I please have this dance?
I also don't know how I feel about the sub. Kind of on the fence about it. Cuz it doesn't like it's not bad. It's just I don't know how I feel about it, right? Like it's not hitting me in the way that I would want it to. Like I think it could be more 808y and less just one note, but that's just my thought, just to give it a little bit more impact, or at the very least just a teeny little pitch bend at the beginning, something to make it hit a little bit like more impactfully, because you have this like really impactful mid and high frequency synth that's happening, and I feel like the sub should kind of match that energy, and yeah, I just don't think that that's happening as good as it could. Your anti-drop section feels really weird, and I don't know how to fix it exactly, but it did not hit me the way that I'm assuming you wanted it to. Like I really liked this section, like these sections I think sound really great arrangement wise, but this one I don't know, like I need some, maybe like some higher frequency percussion could help, like a little bit of high frequency percussion just to help me like keep the grab on sensation, you know, like cuz it just feels a little bit too empty, and I think some high frequency percussion could like help that. And yeah, I noticed those clicks too. Yeah, fix those clicks. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I think that the song is really cool though, and I've seen the video that goes along with it. I'm surprised you didn't share that as well, but that could have that could have made it flex harder, you know. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Version, cool track. I leave it up to the other homies. What do you think?
Go ahead, other homie.
Yeah, this was nice. I really like the sound design in drop one. That like the bass is cool. I think it's like a really short reverb into some distortion. That's what it sounds like, at least. It's very nice. One thing that's kind of hitting me wrong, I don't know if it's the distortion causing like different harmonics to be present, but it feels like it's the wrong note sometimes when it's pulling into the chords. Maybe bump it up 7 for some of those and see what happens. I'll hop in voice chat later. If you're like genuinely curious, I can show you which ones I'm talking about. It's not hitting me right for some reason. Anti-drop was not a fan. Maybe do like, okay, that one you did a long time ago, On the Way. I think you changed the name of it. That like crazy reverbed out patch into nothingness. Try something similar to that. That could be cool in my opinion. I also just really love that patch. It's one of my favorite ones you've made. Yeah. Trying to think. I don't have a lot for this. It's minimal. It could the percussion that you're using, the like hand pan type thing, or the finger drum type thing, it gets a little repetitive in the first drop. Maybe if you want to leave it organic sounding like that, that's fine. That might be standard for the genre that you're going for. I wanted to hear it like processed a little bit harder for some parts, maybe like delayed, even granulized maybe sometimes. That's just what I would do. Because it was just like it's super forward in the mix and repeating itself exactly the way it came in each time. Yeah, maybe play with that. I don't know. Again, it is very organic sounding, so if you're down with that, then it's not the end of the world. But yeah, this is a good track. I missed you. I missed hearing your music. It's good that you're back. Good that you're cooking again. It's good to hear your songs. Dino?
I think the boys covered everything that I had to say. No, I'm playing. Okay. The contrasting vocals in the intro. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. Where are we? Like, this is baby's first awe? Like, don't do that. All right. What else do I have to yell at you for? Tension, climb, and drop impactful. Absolutely not. Not impactful at all. Post vocal wubs too dry. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Not a fan of this section, particularly for quietness of the vocal. You and I think, can agree on that. Vocal inaudible. Sure. Maybe anti-drop. That's not an anti-drop, bro. That's an outro. That is an outro, brother. Like, you know, I was going for an anti-drop, too minimal. Again, that's an outro. The way the synth comes in feels like it doesn't take its full breath, got cut short kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like there's like some sort of like gate on there that's cutting it in and cutting it out, and you really like want like a slow in, slow out, or like something that's like really just not. You want to, right? What else do you have written here? There are little clicks here that need to be fixed. Yes, there are little clicks there that need to be fixed. And since you work in audio, I don't know why that's a problem. But since everyone's favorite new VST is transient shapers, get yourself a transient shaper and remove all the attack. Or just put the little, you know, yeah. That being said, I love you, Benji. I have not heard this track before. I feel like the percussion. Can we get like about a third of the way in, please? Liking the panning on the percussion. I wish if you could make the percussion come off as a little more dry, and maybe have it like cut through the mix a little bit more and have it be more of like the punctuation in the track that could go hard. But ultimately, like, you know what you're doing, and I've seen you take tracks that are rougher than this and turn them into fucking absolute masterpieces. So for the most part, I'm gonna try and stay out of your kitchen, because you can cook, and I just feel like maybe you could have. I mean, you said so in the comments yourself. Like, you know what's going on here. Like, let me address the first thing for the intro. I feel like there's no proper drop. You're saying the tension, climb, and drop is not impactful. It's not. And I know you know how to make an impactful drop, so just do it. Just do it. You don't have to.
You
don't have to wonder
stuff so that you can give stuff back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was wondering, like, because when the bass came in, and then it kept coming in, I was like, what's going on here? Like, there is no, you know, especially with such a huge wub sound, like that huge, airy, like distorted wub, like. Not even I wouldn't even call it a wub. It's like a hypersaw kind of thing, but not a hypersaw. I have no idea how to class that sound, but it's the kind of thing where it's like it wants all of the release. Like, it wants all of that tension to be released. That being said, I love you, dude. And I believe that this is the conclusion of the Feedback Friday Chamber of Secrets edition. I'd like to thank Real and Magduit for hosting us tonight. And I'd like to thank everyone who took a break from their holiday vacations. Some species of foghorn. Yeah, it is some species of foghorn. I'd like to thank everyone who took a break from their holiday vacations to submit a track. I do believe we will be here next Friday. Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down from Mr. Magduit on that?
Yeah, I will be here at the very least.
Yeah.
I know it's Thanksgiving weekend, but you know,
I have no family that loves me. I make the food, so you know. That being said,
what is that?
realist thumbs upping my loneliness. Okay. Dick. That being said,
Wait, before we
Thursdays
go,
and Sundays, 9 o'clock Eastern. What am I looking at here?
before we go, I just wanted to show you guys. All right, this is frequencies. These are frequencies here. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and this is the listener. All right.
Yeah.
So when you're making a build up, you're taking away the frequencies, right? And they're like, no, not the carrot, no, bring it back. And then at the drop, right when they think it's gone forever, boom, you give them the carrot. That is literally
Smack him in
literally
the
a
face
drop.
with the carrot.
That is how you do it. And the carrot is the frequencies. Okay.
There are some questionable gifts and videos that relate to this. The carrot slapping on the
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then not this quick though. You gotta slowly take the carrot away.
You
know?
can't give them
Flaunt
the
it
whole
in front
carrot
of them.
all at once.
Flaunt it in
Alright?
front of them as you're taking it away.
You gotta make them beg for the carrot.
Anyway, yeah, I thought that analogy would help a lot. I don't know if they even could see the faces now that I'm thinking about it, just because like our cameras are there. But you guys get the idea, right?
They can't.
They can't. Okay, so we are the audience. Okay.
I don't want to get slapped in the face with a carrot.
Neither do I. But the carrot isn't a carrot. The carrot are the frequencies. That's what I'm saying. Dude. Anyway, yeah, no. Thursdays and Sundays. Come through.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Block clip.
Make music. Level up.
Or else. Be
Or
there
else.
or be square.
Love you guys.
Bye bye.
Peace.